Good afternoon, everybody. And good afternoon. I'm Sharon Porter. I am the Senior Vice President of Public Relations for Enlivian, formerly the Charlotte Housing Authority. And today in our LIV TV chat, we have Miss Aisha Strothers, who is the Executive Director of the Greater Steps Scholarship, which is formerly the Charlotte Housing Authority Scholarship Fund. So I guess we've all been through some name changing.
Yes.
So tell us, I could go into why we changed our name, but tell us, why did you guys decide to change your name?
Well, thank you, first of all, Sharon, for having me on here. I appreciate it. But I think, some of the reasons we went through the name change were similar to Enlivian's. I know that this has been a topic that has been on the table for years. We have been in existence for about 37 years now. So over the years, this conversation has gone on. Should we change our name, and why? And people kind of wanted to hold on to it. Some people wanted to let it go. And so it kind of brought us to a place where we initiated these conversations with several of our stakeholders. And in those conversations, we were able to reveal a few points. The first being that many of our constituents, including prospective and current scholarship donors, thought that we were part of Enlivian. Right. Because of our name. So they thought that we received government funding. So even though we are appreciative of our relationship and partnership with Enlivian, we realized that our former name might have been limiting our audiences and the opportunity to increase the engagement. The second reason was that, or the thing that we found out was that the name was kind of a mismatch for the inspirational and aspirational nature of the program. We needed a name that kind of captured the hope and determination and the bright future that's possible when you have the access to these funds, the mentorship that we provide, and the support that is needed for many of our students who are pursuing a college education. So
those are two pretty big reasons.
Yeah, big reasons.
Those are big reasons, not unlike some of the in-depth self look, analyzation that we had to do for ourselves. So, but let's talk about it. You touched on it slightly. Let's talk about the history, the rich history that exists between our two organizations.
Absolutely. Well, our beginnings came from a former employee of Enlivian, and Dr. John T. Crawford. He was the youth services director at Enlivian at the time.
Well, we should say that was the Charlotte Housing Authority at the time.
It was the Charlotte Housing Authority.
Yeah, now right. Charlotte Housing Authority. Right. We gotta, right. We're so good at trying to stay on message and point. Right. We gotta, right.
Yeah. But there was a student that he encountered who was a senior at Winston-Salem State University. He needed $300 to complete his studies in his year at Winston-Salem State University to graduate, and he didn't have it. And so he talked to Dr. Crawford, and he and a friend came up with the resources that the student needed in order to fulfill his college requirements. He graduated. And so they kind of inspired Dr. Crawford to say, hey, how many more of our students are feeling like they have this financial barrier and don't think that there are resources, don't think they can even think about attending college or pursuing some kind of post-secondary education. So he came up with the program. He went out and started soliciting funds from, folks in the community, and raised about $65,000.
Wow.
Invested it in what is now Foundation for the Carolinas as an endowment, and started handing out the first scholarships in 1984.
Now, do we know where that young man is today? The young man that sort of inspired this?
Yes. I'm not going to say I remember his last name. His first name is Victor, and he is actually working. What's the name of the program? It's it's the culinary program that and they're located on Monroe Road, where folks that were previously incarcerated or homeless, just don't have a stable background, they can kind of come in and they develop they're taught, culinary.
Oh, wonderful! Giving them a career.
Yes, so
Giving them an option. Yeah.
I encountered him a couple of last year when we were still able to to be together at an event where I was talking about the scholarship fund to some students, and he happened to be there because he was a mentor to some of the students there.
That's fantastic. And that's, Dr. John T. Crawford is a legend in the city, certainly a legend within our organization. And, that's the legacy that you're proud of.
Yes.
You know what I mean? No, that's the person that you are honored to say, or you had the opportunity to meet. Yes. And it was just that one spark, which lets us know any of us can do it, right? Just that one spark. What can I do? And he has now changed a life. How many students have you had come through since that?
We've given scholarships to 940 students to date. Yep.
900. Now let's talk about the families that you serve with the scholarship.
So that kind of goes back to one of the reasons why our name was the Charlotte Housing Authority Scholarship Fund. We serve students who live in live-in properties. So, our mission may have changed, but our name may have changed, but our mission remains the same. And that's to provide every child living in Charlotte subsidized housing an opportunity for and an expectation of a college education. So we work with students. We've had this long, ongoing relationship with Livian, and Livian has usually provided an employee that will work on recruitment, getting the word out, sometimes going, door to door to eligible students to make sure that they fill out the application. So those students are right now that's the main eligibility requirement. They need to be an Livian resident. Then we have a few other requirements. We make sure that students are, certain age. So if they're incoming freshmen looking to go to college, they shouldn't be older than 21. Okay. Some students who are, we're unique in that we don't limit our scholarships to just students who are, first going into college. So, if a student is currently in college or pursuing some other, vocational certificate, they can still apply for the scholarship. And so those students who already have some schooling under their belt shouldn't be older than 25. I'm sorry, 24. Excuse me. But the other thing is, while we realize college isn't for everyone, some students want to pursue a post-secondary education of some kind, and we encourage them to do so to really, acquire that financial stability that that we both have a shared interest in, making sure that students that, kind of increase their economic mobility and are able to sustain themselves.
So you bring up a very good point. Congratulations to the organization for over 900 students being served. And what we like to talk about here in the agency is that we have so many wonderful people with great, but for opportunity, would go on to do some tremendous thing. And some of your graduates have gone on to do tremendous things and are leaders in our community, right? So not only our residents go on to be leaders in our community, but they're also students, right? So we know Chris Moxley, who is one of the co-owners of the 704 shop, and he went on to University of Charlotte, graduated with honors, and also has a career in financial services. We know, if you're in Charlotte watching this, we have No Limit Larry, right? Of the Morning Madhouse. And he wakes people up every day. But not only is he just, providing us that morning soundtrack on our way to work, but he's also extremely active in giving back in our community. Right. I mean, I have met doctors I have met nurses that if it were not for this opportunity from the now Greater Steps organization, they wouldn't have had the opportunity or the support, many of which are their first time people in their family to ever go to college, and not always in the most supportive background. Right. Because let's just be honest, people who are coming from, they are in survival mode.
Yes.
Right.
So,
and it's not that it's not important. They're just simply in survival mode.
Exactly. I mean, it's just, we kind of work with students from, at the point that where they are, and I think that's the most you can do and the best you can do. With anybody, but that is one of the things that we rely on, our relationship and partnership with Enlivian. You guys have been able to kind of reach out to some of these students, early. We're trying to get to them early, let them know while they're, in middle school, let them know while they're, in the early years in high school, that this is an opportunity that you can take advantage of after you graduate. So don't, we want you to be aware of this. These are funds that can be used for your well betterment. And we try to involve the parents as well. We want the parents to be on board and understand. And we know we have students that are, pursue the, a post-secondary education there, going to college, sometimes not locally in Charlotte, outside of Charlotte. But nonetheless, they come back home and, parents sometimes they need or want or need them to help with the family in some way, either working or just being there, helping to take care of younger siblings, things like that. And just because they are in that survival mode, they're trying to make it to the next level. But it's important to understand that this education can help the family, can help that student get to that next level. So it's a stepping stone.
So we have a comment. We have Nefertira Estrada Best says, guess she's giving out shout outs to Christopher Reese, Larry Mims, Chandra Higgins, just some of the notable graduates from your program. Let's talk about why now more than ever is these opportunities for education are important. I mean, they're always important. I'm not just suggesting it, but we're at an interesting point in time in history. And what we've seen from frontline workers. Tell why is now?
There's a couple of different reasons. I think that, we're looking at how there's this lens, this focus, this microscope focus on Charlotte, on how, first of all, we're 50 out of 50 in United States cities across the nation. For basically, if you're growing up in poverty, the chances that you will move out of poverty and be able to financially sustain yourself and your family are slim. And so, we want to increase that. So, so number one, that is definitely a reason, we're working and we've been working and doing the work of increasing and improving our students' economic mobility. And as we discussed already, we have so many students that are success stories, not just, the ones that we can say, hey, Chris Moxley and Larry Mims, while they're notable, we have students, I consider students that complete the program are able to, thrive and get that career and do better for themselves and move on to other, areas in their life and be able to help their family out. That's a success story, the fact that they're able to achieve that. But also, you're talking about COVID and frontline workers. We have several students that are in the healthcare field, graduates, students that are currently pursuing, their degree in nursing, their medical degrees. We have past, folks that are out there, graduates who are out there on the front lines, giving, working with the vaccines and, treating people who are infected with COVID-19 and, and right there with, in the trenches with them. We have students now, we have several students that are, looking to, obtain their nursing degree. We have a former student who is in med school now, Khadijah Adams. She is, a great story. She wasn't even thinking about going to college really when she first came to us. She was in CPCC. and had another had a mentor, someone there who took an investment in her and really started talking to her about the medical field. And that's, here we go. She decided that was going to be her track. She went to UNC Chapel Hill, and she graduated with honors, and she's now at the medical school there, Chapel Hill, and doing her residency here in Charlotte. So
I mean, let's just talk about why that's so important, particularly in this time in a pandemic. And we know that people of color in our communities are disproportionately impacted, right? And so having a person of color who gets the education, who understands the obstacles, the fears, the concerns, the lack of access, being able to sort of bridge that gap, whether they are working for the institution to help people who are not familiar with the background, right? To say, there are better ways that we can do this, or here are opportunities that we're missing. And the flip side of that, we've got some folks in our community, rightfully so, who are concerned about a vaccine, right? Because we have a historical history in this country with the vaccine that hasn't been kind to us, right? And so having someone who can have those conversations with people in our community, especially, I think in a time like now, this is just one of the premier reasons, quite frankly, why there are students in our communities that need to be seeking your scholarship. So let's just get into that scholarship, because you got money and you got money for people to go to school. So let's just get into it. So I guess we got some deadlines, and how much can people expect, or is it based on need, based on school? What's happening?
So our new student scholarship application is currently open, and it will remain open until March 5th, Friday, March 5th, 2021. So we encourage folks who want to apply and are eligible to apply to do so sooner rather than waiting to the last minute. There's a couple of pieces. We want to make sure we ask students for copies of transcripts, and they can be from a screenshot. They don't have to be the official transcript, so that we can look at their GPA, see how they've been moving and shaking throughout high school or their college career. We also require students to upload their SAR report, their financial aid report. We want to make sure, first of all, every student has to apply for financial aid in order to even, you apply to college, great. You have to have your FAFSA. You have to have something to indicate what your need is. But we want to make sure that students are not leaving that money on the table. Right. I think all of our students are eligible for the Pell Grant, and that's important. That is those are additional funds that they can receive to help aid their college or post-secondary education experience and journey. So
let me ask you a question here. Do you help students and families navigate that? I mean, listen, my mom didn't go to college. And so it was, I suspect, overwhelming for her on some level, having to navigate, and you just don't always know what to do. Do you guys help with that?
We do. We have, and we work within Livian to do that. So the folks working in the youth services department, Millard and Ryan, they have been, help us kind of getting the word out. They punch out, letters and postcards and emails, and really to get the word, especially now in the digital era, getting the word out to families and prospective students that the application is open, but also hosting events, small right now, Zoom calls and Zoom meetings, and also saying, hey, if you need help, figuring this out, a lot of our students do have questions and need help to do the financial aid form. Then let us know, because we don't want that to be a barrier. We don't want that to be the reason why you haven't applied. So we do, in pre-COVID times, we would host little, workshops, in person, and we would work with them that way. Now, we have a program coordinator, D. Rankin. He helps really a lot of students, working through the application. I know he did a workshop with Enlivian to, kind of go through the steps, how, here's the application, how do you get to it? What do you need to do? Just step by step, in order for students to understand, and that it doesn't end there. So if students still have questions, they can always, email, call us, reach out to us to let us know that they have a question, a problem, don't know how to do something, or upload a document, and then we work with them.
So we have a comment from Josh Proby. Hey, Josh, Happy New Year to you. He says, keep engaging, remain consistent. Absolutely. And I want to say, because I've been meaning to do this, and so I'm like convicting myself here in this, is that you all also provide mentors for students once they get in, right? Because again, you're the first person in your family, and you come from a background of survival, and everyone around you is in survival, right? Yes. Then you come into a whole new world. Like, I can only imagine what that young lady that you talked about, coming from, her background into UNC Chapel Hill. Those are universes colliding. You know what I mean? Not just worlds, they're universes colliding.
Exactly.
There are all kinds of things that there are hidden rules, right? And there are outspoken rules, and you just don't know how to navigate. So talk about the mentors that you provide to your students once they get in.
So yes, thank you for bringing that up, because we, we brought this program on with the mentorship. I want to say about close to 5 years ago, because we did notice that this was a gap that wasn't filled. We wanted to make sure that the students, number one, had encouragement to go forward, because 91% of our students are first generation. At least. So we knew that they didn't really have that support system necessarily to help guide them. They may have had supportive families, but not necessarily folks that knew what to do. Hey, all of us have, many of us have had to deal with the financial aid office, the bursar's office, trying to figure it out. Standing online is not always the most accommodating, most friendly.
No, it isn't.
But, those are things that you have to do to make sure that your aid is there, because if not, you might get, kicked to the curb for a second. They might, right. So we want to make sure that students understood how to navigate that process, as well as hey, I need to reach out. I'm having some issues in this one particular class, and I don't know what to do. And a lot of students don't always advocate for themselves, and so
they don't know how. Yeah.
Right. So, we wanted to put that mentor in place to help them navigate those issues as well. But even more importantly, we saw a need to kind of match students up with mentors that were in the field that they were studying or they intended to study, because that could help them, work through internships, obtaining internships, networking, those types of skills that our students don't have access to. So we really, strongly believe in that mentor program. We are always accepting mentors. We have a mentor application that folks who are interested can complete. We ask that mentors or prospective mentors can have some experience in college, so that they can relate to that student and, share their journey with them. But also, there's the application. We do some training to, you're not left on your own to kind of figure it out. We do some training with you, and our goal is always to keep our students matched at 100%. And so we've been able to maintain that for the last, I think, 2 years now, 2.5 years. So
I'm raising my hand. It's something that I've been wanting to do. I don't know how I keep letting it slip my mind, but that's what I'm saying. I'm convicted right here in a good way, right?
Awesome.
There's no reason for me not to do that right now.
Send you that application.
Go ahead and send me the application, but I'm here for it. I know what mentors did for me in my life, right? Yeah. And while I had an amazing mom, there's only so far she could take me, right? There are different areas and avenues my family is only so far, but that's with anyone. I could have come from
anyone.
With anyone. I could have come from great wealth. I still needed mentors that could help navigate. You can never have too many great mentors. No. That's just, but let's put up your contact information on how people can get in contact with you.
Awesome. So we have it right there. You can reach out to us with by calling 704-973-4567. Our website is www.greatersteps.org. You can go to the website. You can find the information for the application, as well as other information about mentoring, donating. We are individual private contributions run. So anything that will help us kind of get to that point, make sure that we can provide students for another 40 years with scholarships and mentor services, and also career skill workshops that we provide students. I know I saw our socials up there. So here are our socials. We're on Facebook.
Yes, Facebook, Instagram,
and
YouTube. Pardon my eyes. Can't see it all the way. YouTube.
We'll be looking to, have a stronger presence on LinkedIn as well. We have one now, but we're going to work on strengthening that. But those are some great ways that you can engage with us now.
Great. So is there anything that I missed? Did we cover it all?
We did cover a lot. I think we covered pretty much everything. I did. Oh, I don't think we talked about the scholarship awards, the amounts that, students can receive.
How much?
Anywhere between $1,500 and $4,000, and that is where students' GPA comes into play when they provide their transcripts. Incoming freshmen can receive a scholarship of $1,500, an annual scholarship of $1,500 if their GPA is between 2.0 and up to 2.9. And if their GPA is 3.0 and higher, they can receive $2,500 for the year. Once they progress to the upperclassmen area and incoming upperclassmen, as they apply, they are eligible for 3 tiers. We break that down. The same first tier, $1,500 for 2.0 to 2.9. 3.0 to 3.49 students can receive $2,500, and students with GPAs of 3.5 and higher can receive $4,000 for the year. And our scholarship is renewable for up to 5 years. So students can continue to receive that scholarship. There is an annual, a renewal application that is shorter than the new incoming application, but it's pretty
Everything
easy.
helps. Everything helps. And so you package that with the mentorship. You package that with the guidance on how to maneuver through making sure you get all the money you can.
Yes.
It's invaluable. So Aisha, I want to thank you for joining us. If we can put back on the screen the contact information for Greater Steps, I don't want anyone to miss out on this opportunity. If they know a young person who wants to go to college, aspires education or additional further education or training in any career, they need to reach out to greatersteps.org.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I will be putting, listen, I'm locked and loaded. I'm ready to be a mentor.
Awesome. We're going to send you that information and make sure we get you trained and ready to go for our next cohort of students.
I'm ready. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Sharon. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.